Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Welcome to OAA Now. I'm Sammy Taramina, blogger of the Dragon's Den, blog inside the OAA, and one of the hosts between Taramina's on OAA Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome our friends on Oxford Community Television and also those watching on YouTube. Today we got a guest this week. Of course, it is Stony Creek's girls basketball coach, Kellen James here.
How are you?
Kellen, welcome.
How you doing, Sammy?
You know, when you look at the strength of the Stony Creek girls basketball team, it's gonna be very interesting to see what the Cougars have this upcoming season.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be good. We're gonna be young, but competitive. We have 5 girls returning from last year's team, 1 junior and 4 seniors, and then we had some real good young kids coming up through the program the last few years.
But when you look at, of course, we look at the strength of Stony Creek. Of course, you took over from Brad Crichton, who's now coaching at Adams, and you know, explain how that transition's been from coaching from being an assistant under Crichton to being the head gig.
Well, you know, it was pretty easy. You know, Brad made things really easy while I was there with him. I had a lot of say in what we were doing, and not only was I his JV coach, I was pretty much his varsity assistant the whole time I was there. And so when he stepped down and I was coaching the girls over the summer, we had a good mix. I got to know the girls pretty well, and then when the transition happened, it was really a smooth transition. We didn't have many people upset. It was very positive on the girls' parts.
Well, of course, you know, I wrote a blog on your hire. Of course, I called it one of the best moves I think Stony Creek made was bringing you in. What were your reaction when you heard Brad was coming back to coach boys at Adams? What was your reaction, your initial reaction?
Can't say I was surprised. I knew that Brad eventually wanted to coach again. He had young kids. He had a son at the middle school there, and when that position opened up, it was a perfect fit, perfect timing for him. You can't. That's one of those things you can't just sit on. You can't wait and say maybe in 5 years it'll open up, or in a few years. If the job's open and you can get it, you have to step in and take it. So.
Well, let's look at the OA landscape. Of course, you know, in girls basketball, of course, we look at, of course, a lot of new coaches now in the OAA. Of course, we still know we do have one vacancy out there in the league. It's at Hazel Park, of course, with Chris Stroud stepping down. I mean, like, when you look at the changeover from different coaches, I mean, what does that tell you about the changeover around the league?
You know, it's tough to see. There's a lot of good coaches out there, and keeping good coaches in a position for a while is tough. I was actually talking to Jeff Simpson over at North Farmington the other day, and in the Red, I've been here this will be my 3rd year, and I'm like right in the middle of the pack now, because of all the turnover. Jeff has been up there for a while. Michelle
Marshall, yeah.
And a lot of people have been up there for a while, but then you have a lot of schools where every 1, 2, 3 years you get a new coach, and it's tough for those kids with new systems coming in, and everybody has different opinions on things.
Well, when you look at the division this year, you're in the Red. Of course, that is a loaded division this year.
Yeah.
When you look at, of course, you have a Final Four team in there from a year ago in Southfield Arts and Tech. You have Clarkson, who returns basically, I think, a very solid starting 5. You have North Farmington's got some questions. You guys got some questions. Lake Orion's got some questions.
Yeah.
Boothby Hills, Adams, when you look at the strength of the league, do you think the Red Division could be one of the toughest conferences in the state?
Oh, I think without a doubt it is. You look at our division right now, you have a Southfield team that has 1 or 2 possible Division I commits. You have Clarkson, who probably has 1 or 2 Division I commits. North Farmington has St. Cherney is really, really good. We have our guard Emily Eckhout, who's really, really good. A lot of the schools have these really good players, and every night it's going to be a battle. I mean, that's all we're going to be doing is we're battling every night.
Let's look at let's look at Stony Creek's non-conference. Of course, I've called this perhaps one of the most vicious schedules in the entire league. Of course,
it's not that bad.
It is very vicious when you open up with 2 Lakes Valley opponents. Yeah. When you play, of course, in Wall Lake Western, they open up with. They have a new coach in Steve Emmert. Mm-hmm. They got 2 very good players. I mean, explain how that matchup's going to feel like. You know, you're taking on your former mentor, of course, Steve Emmert. Of course, you were you learned a lot from Emmert. Of course, we know Emmert from his days at Oxford. Mm-hmm. And explain how it is going up against Emmert.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. That was why I scheduled them. I know that they're going to be one of the better teams in the area. They made it to a regional final last year. And they had a really, really good season. Their guard Flowers,
yep.
She's a stud. For us, we know we're going to be pretty competitive. We want to work hard against some of these teams, and we figured with the league that we have to play in, there's not a better way to start the season and get prepared than Wall Lake Western.
Well, when you look at playing Wall Lake Western, this is a matchup where I would say right now, I'm not being mean to you, but this is a very tough matchup for you guys because you guys are very young. Wall Lake Western's got experience, you know what I mean? And, of course, you've got that one returning starter in Emily Eckhart.
Yep.
But when you look at the matchup, you look at that match, how does having home court, you're going to be at home with this matchup, how does having home court help in this matchup?
Honestly, almost part of me wishes that we would schedule it away. I'm not a big home court guy. Every court is the same distance. It's the same length. The hoops are the same size, so where you play really doesn't matter to me. I do think that being at home might give our team a little bit more of a comfort feel, especially starting the season out at home, where we've been practicing for 2-3 weeks, getting ready for that game. But I don't think the home court thing is going to. I think outside of the gym, people make a bigger deal than home about it.
Explain, of course, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth here. Of course, your relationship with Steve Emmert, of course, Emmert came to Wall Lake Western of course, this season, of course, in the off season. When you did the schedule, did you think that Emmert was going to be your opponent your first game?
I had no idea who the coach was. This was scheduled. I want to say this was probably one of the first games that we scheduled all season long. We probably scheduled it right around spring break. So, we didn't know who was going to be there. We just know that they're a good program. The last few years they've been very competitive in their division. It's come down to them and Kettering the last 2 years, and we figured why not play them. I looked at pretty much when we did our schedules. We looked at teams that won districts and what teams were going to be pretty good the following year, and that's who we wanted to play.
Speaking of Waterford Kettering, that is your second opponent. You got to go to Waterford to play the captains and Scott Woodhall. I'm saying to myself, when I looked and the schedule came out, I'm going like, what in the heck are you thinking? You're going to play an experienced team in Wall Lake Western, and now you're going to be playing another team, a more experienced team in Waterford Kettering. What's up with this? I'm worried about your team's psyche after this.
We'll be all right. We'll be good with that. Last year we played Kettering at our place, and we played them really tough. I think it was a close game. We lost our starting 2 guard about 35 seconds into the game, and that really hurt us because Kettering does such a good job defensively packing in.
The defense department.
Yep, they love to pack it in and make you play from the outside, and we didn't have a real good opportunity of attacking the basket. This year we have a little bit of a change in philosophy on the offensive side of the ball.
A little bit younger this year.
And we're going to be a little bit younger, but I think we're going to, defensively we'll be able to get some scores. Offensively we'll get some scores, and we're going to compete with them. That's our objective.
It's going to be a very tough matchup, no doubt, when you play Waterford Kettering. Of course, Scott Woodhall is a very good coach. Yep. He knows what he's doing. Of course,
he is.
And then of course, let's look at your third game. You play Rochester. Of course, Rochester's going through a coaching change. Of course, Al Pointer takes over the feel for the Falcons. Of course, explain that matchup with Oxford. No, with Rochester, my bad.
Rochester, it's our first, city game, I guess you could call it, and Al's come in. I've talked to him a few times this year. Saw their team play, and their kids are playing really hard. They're playing really hard in summer league, and from what I'm hearing through the grapevine, that he's got that program turning around. I know he's already been down at the middle schools talking to the kids and working on getting his system involved from the middle school up, and that's what they need, especially when you have two schools feeding into Rochester. You can prep those kids early.
It's very interesting how the Rochester school system is, basically, because of course Stony Creek, a lot of girls go from Hart, and of course you look at Adams. We know about Van Heusen, we know about West, and of course Rochester with Ruther. I mean, so basically explain when you look at that match with Rochester, explain how the middle school feeders programs feed into each of the programs.
It's interesting because this is the first fall that I'm not coaching middle school basketball. So I for 11 years, I coached at West, and about probably a 60-40 split of our kids at West go to 60% go to Rochester, 40% go to Adams. So Adams has that 40%, and then all of Van Heusen feeding in.
Right.
Rochester has 60% of West or so, and then all of Ruther feeding in, and then Stony has just Hart. Just Hart. I mean, Hart's gigantic as it is.
Do you wonder if some kids from Ruther ever goes to Stony, or they not like
No, the way the district works is, wherever you follow that track. There's no, about 2 or 3 years ago, the district did away with the open enrollment within the district,
right?
Which I think that is going to take a little while to kind of even it out, but I think you're going to see some of the sports teams really evening out rather than before, when it was you were really good this sport, you went to this high school. If you were really good at this sport, you went to that high school.
Of course, let's look around the schedule because you got Oxford coming up. That next game at home, of course, you're going up against Rachel Breyer. Oxford a little bit younger than they were. Of course, they lost a lot. That'll be an interesting matchup there. But let's talk about your Motor City Roundball Classic. It'll be taking place at Detroit Edison in December on the 27th. Talk about the Motor City Roundball.
Well, we still don't know who we're playing yet. I've been talking to Coach Lindsay about that, and like I said with our first 2 games, I said we'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime. So
last season you had a really tough matchup with the Roundball. Now you didn't have you didn't have a lot of.
Yeah, we were shorthanded.
You were shorthanded. You had a tough. I think you played Carmen Ainsworth last year, and that was a really difficult matchup. And that one. Okay, we're gonna talk. We're going to talk more about your team, of course, when we come back here to a special OAA Now here on ONTV and OCTV.
We own a Habitat home.
I love working on my Habitat home.
Soy dueño de una casa de Habitat.
My neighbor is a Habitat homeowner.
Being a Habitat homeowner has changed our lives.
My mortgage payment for Habitat is less than what I pay for rent.
Habitat for Humanity of Oakland County currently has homes available with mortgage payments lower than most rent payments. If you or someone you know needs decent and affordable housing, call 248-338-1843 or visit our website at habitatoakland.org.
Welcome back to OAA Now. I'm Sammy Timmy here. Of course, my guest, Kellen James, of the girls basketball coach at Stony Creek. Before we went to break, of course, we're talking about the Motor City Roundball. Of course, you had a really tough match with Carmen Ainsworth last year.
Yeah.
And basically explain how it is playing in that roundball.
It's different. I mean, you really don't know who you're going to play until probably a few weeks before you get there. You don't know how many kids you're going to have, who's going to be there with family vacations or soccer tournaments going on. So we prep it as a game that obviously we want to compete, we want to win. But I also understand that sometimes, like last year, we were short. Two of our top guards.
One was on vacation.
One was on vacation. One was at soccer, and then the day before, Allie Voss sprained her ankle really bad. So effectively, we were down 3 starters. We had another kid out for vacation. So I think we ended up dressing 9 kids. And, we brought up a freshman, Lily DePanny, last year.
Lily DePanny.
And she did a good job. But it was playing a team like Carmen Ainsworth with Destiny Struthers. She lit us up from the outside, and it was a difficult task for us.
Explain the. I'm going to give you a question here. Explain the city rivalry with Rochester and Rochester. As we talked about Rochester a little bit earlier. Of course, they got a new coach in Al Pointer.
Yep.
Adams, very well with Shea Lewis, what they have over there. I mean, explain the city rivalry with Rochester.
I think it's for us, and I'm sure it's the same for the other 2 schools. Is every year that's one of our goals. Is we want to be the city champs. It's a little different now that with being in the OAA and have the different divisions. Adams and us, we play twice.
Yep, in the red and Rochester in the white.
Yeah, and then we play Rochester once, and the same thing happens for Adams. So their one time playing Rochester is typically at
Oakland University.
Have
you ever thought about maybe playing?
I would love to. If ever the ADs came and said, hey, does Stoney want to get in it? I'd jump at the chance.
Because I look at that matchup as Rochester, Adams. They play at Oakland University, but I'm saying to myself, why is Stony Creek not in this? Because they're a Rochester school. Yep. I mean, I feel like you guys are getting disrespected a little bit by not playing at Oakland.
And that's okay. I mean, if people want to disrespect us because we're the new kid on the block that's only been there for 15, 16 years, I guess. I mean, for me, it's it's one of those things I don't have any say in, so I don't worry too much. But if somebody asks me, I'm gonna say, I want my kids to have that great experience.
Well, you played Blueberry Hills at Oakland University a couple of years ago.
Yep.
I mean, fortunately for you guys, it didn't end up very well.
Yeah, we had.
You dealt Victory Franklin, Amanda Sape,
yep.
And those were, of course, now those 2 are gone now. When you look at that, but when you look at the possibility of playing at Oakland University it would definitely help. It would help. I think it would help the program.
I totally agree for both the girls and boys. I think it would get more student involvement. It would be a great opportunity. But once again, it's one of those things that's out of my hands. So,
well, let's look at, of course, other games in your schedule. Of course, you do play. I noticed an interesting game. You got Avondale, of course, on there coming up on the 30th of January. I think that's going to be a really interesting matchup. I really like what the Yellow Jackets have done the last season. Of course, they went from a huge turnaround this year. Explain having to play the Yellow Jackets this year.
I think they the last few years they've been hit with the injury bug.
Last year,
Russell,
especially.
Russell was hurt, and I think that really hurt them. Because she's a heck of a player. We saw her, and she was actually a West kid at first, and then 7th grade went over to Avondale schools, and so we played her in middle school, and she was a great player then, and just unfortunately, every now and then that injury bug jumps up and bites you and got you. But I think Avondale, they do a really good job over there, really pressuring the ball, getting up and down the floor. It's another one of those games that even though it's a non-league game for us, it's going to be a battle.
And then, of course, another one I'm mentioning here is Notre Dame Prep. Of course, you guys are going to be at Notre Dame Prep. That's going to be, that always is a tough matchup. You kind of got to feel bad for your clock, if you're a bookkeeper, having to sit on that stage this year. Of course, I got to do that this year.
Well, here's a shocker. I've never been inside that gym.
I hear. I mean, they got a real beautiful scoreboard over there.
Do they?
Got a real beautiful scoreboard there. They'll have your name on there. And
never been in the gym, so it's going to be interesting to go there. Yeah, they came out and played us last year. I'm sure the Cat will be fine doing the scorebook up there. But another one that we struggled a little bit with them when we played them last year. Offensively, we weren't great, so kind of want to come back and show better effort.
Is there any team in the Red Division this year that you want to play? that you want to play, and there's one you dread?
You know what? I dread. I would say the one I'm going to dread is probably going out to Clarkson, because one, that atmosphere, they really get you. They do such a good job in that community of coming out and supporting athletics and supporting what they do. And for me to, my team to go in there, we've gone in there the last 2 years during the Hoops for Troops game.
Yeah, the Hoops for Troops, yeah.
And it's a little overwhelming at times, especially when in a close, tight game. We had a real close one 2 years ago there. And they're so talented. Christine does a great job with
Rogers,
she does a great job with all of them. So that would probably be the one that I'm not, once it's checked off the schedule, I'm not going to be upset.
What game you look forward to?
I gotta say, I'm looking forward to coming out to Lake Orion to see my buddy Sammy.
That's good. It'll be interesting.
But you know what? We've had good battles with Lake Orion in the past, and they always put up real good fights. And that I think any game we get on the schedule in the league is a game that I want to coach.
It's not going to be an easy slate, but when you look at other games like Southfield Arts and Tech, we talked about Michelle's team, Marshall's team with Alexis Johnson, of course, Cheyenne McEvans, they're two Division I recruits. I mean, and then of course, explain your matchup with Adams, because it's kind of Adams. Let's talk about them a little bit, because I really felt last year Adams won their district at your expense, even though you guys lost to Utica Eisenhower, and it's kind of an odd story. Of course, it's very odd.
They won the district, and they did a real good job. They beat a team that we couldn't beat, and they're deserving of all the credit for that. I still say that district semifinal game has a real sour taste because of the injuries. We were going into it, we got into the fourth quarter there, got bit by the injury bug twice in 90 seconds, and when your point guard goes out and your best attacker goes out in that span, and then you have at the time you have a sophomore guard that comes up to you and says, "Coach, I got this," and she plays her butt off for 5 minutes until she unfortunately falls out. And then to lose by 7, and I think we put them on the line 10 times in the last, and they went 7 for 10 from the free throw line.
And let's look at your district, because your district this year, you get to host
it's at home.
the district.
It's at home, though.
But
right? Yeah.
You got Utica Eisenhower coming back there. You got Utica. You got Rochester and Adams. But the addition there is Romeo.
Yep.
Romeo coming in from the district. They were at Macomb, Dakota, with Macomb, Dakota, Port Huron Northern.
Well, it
and
makes
Anchor
sense,
Bay.
though, for them to be with us.
And now got them coming to your place. You got a well-coached team with Romeo and Connie Hernandez.
Yep.
You got a very good player back in Amber Flynn. Explain the Bulldogs. What's your thoughts on the Bulldogs?
I the last 2 years I haven't really had to watch them because they've never been in our district. I mean, I've watched them here and there, but I think that they're in the MAC Red. Just
of course, that's a difficult league.
That's another difficult league. You have Eisenhower, who has the two real good guards.
Very good point guard.
Yeah, and she's a great point guard. And then Utica's not with us this year.
No, Utica's not with you guys.
They're out.
They're out, but still, Utica Eisenhower are still in there.
And then you never know. Any night, anybody can win. And
how was it playing in Utica's gym?
I like it, man. The last 2 years when I heard the district was there, I was happy because it's a small, tight gym. It's really good for our press. We've done really well in the last few years there. Had some success.
I thought pretty similar to North Farmington. Their gym is pretty small too.
The Utica one it seems a little bit smaller because it's got both walls, but it's very similar.
But when you look at, of course, when you get into later in the year with that district, I noticed you have a game with Utica High School on the 20th. Of course, that'll be. I think I call that a very dangerous game, and the reason why I call it that is because you might have like Utica Eisenhower possibly scouting you guys, or Romeo, or that.
And I mean, at that time, everyone's going to have film on everybody, so it's at that point, it's really nothing out of the ordinary. We're gonna, we'll probably not show everything, but we're still going to play our game.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your team. Of course, as you mentioned, you told me you replaced you have one star back in Emily Eckhart. But when you look at Stony Creek, of course, I've always viewed Stony Creek as a team that always under you has reloaded. And we look at basketball. I view there's consistent basketball teams around there. Sometimes they have ups, sometimes they have downs. But I view you guys as pretty much a very consistent program.
Yeah, I think we have been in the past few years. We've had a lot of kids that were come up from the JV, be able to give us minutes. This year, like we said, we're going to be a younger team. We have some really talented kids in our program. We have Emily Eckout, who is and I'm not afraid to say she's the best player in our city.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, she's a competitor. She's a leader, and to have those qualities as a junior, it's going to be exciting to see her this year and next year. We're bringing up some really good kids from the JV.
Your JV was pretty good last year. I know about Megan Solek.
Yep, Megan Solek is she's going to be a junior.
Yep.
Lily DePanny is a sophomore.
I think Lily DePanny is a very underrated player. I really do.
Oh, she is.
I believe she's an underrated player.
She is tough as nails. She is.
But you
she
got
works
some
really
size
hard.
coming. It looks
we
like.
do. Yeah, we have the Beatty sisters who are Izzy and Sophia, who are both well over 6 foot tall.
I'm high on both of them. They're going to be solid.
Yeah, they'll be really solid with a senior and a sophomore. We have really good freshmen coming in.
Of course, you always have that heart pipeline, getting you guys in there and all that. But when you look at, of course, and of course, you guys open up with the Michigan Mega Scrimmage, of course, that we played in Ypsilanti, and that's going to be a really interesting scrimmage. Of course, how did you guys get in that Michigan Mega Scrimmage?
2 years ago, I was looking for a scrimmage, and I talked to Jason every now and then, and he had a spot open, and we kind of took it, and we played really good teams. Last year, I think all 3 teams that we played in the Mega Scrimmage won their district and played in
Was it all 3 teams that go? Your freshman, JV, varsity, or just varsity?
Just the varsity. Yeah, just the varsity go there, and then we find other scrimmages for the JV.
It's very interesting to say the least, because I'm not being mean, but when you're playing the Motor City Roundball Classic just for varsity only, I mean, what does your freshman JV do? We
work on other schedules. Like, for example, when we play the Roundball Classic, we'll figure out who we're going to play there. And possibly work to set up a game with the JV and freshmen there. Freshman schedules are always tough because you never know what schools have freshman teams.
You don't know what schools have freshman teams. I mean, it's basically like, but when you look at the Red this year, I think all the schools are going to have freshman teams.
Yeah, and that works out great for us. Our freshmen may play Rochester twice. Whereas we only play them once, just because it's just to add another game to our schedule.
From a sub-varsity level, I mean, how important is the city championship to them? I'm putting you on the spot.
I don't know how important I mean, obviously they want to win it. They want to have those bragging rights. But more so in the past, like our JV team last year, they really didn't care about who they beat. They just wanted to beat whoever they were playing, and that's a great quality to have for those girls. So when it was Rochester, when it was Adams, they just wanted to win, and that was that. They weren't worried about other things going on. They just wanted to win.
What makes it beauty of a basketball program, basketball power.
Yeah.
When you look at, of course, our final thoughts, of course, about talking the state of the Cougars program before we go into a different sport, which is going to be football, of course. But looking at Stony Creek this year, to everybody around the league, what is your message to the league about Stony Creek girls basketball?
That we're going to come out every night and we're going to compete. I mean, there's not going to be a night that we're going to come out and just give a game up. We're coming out to play every single night, and anybody that plays us, needs to expect a game. We want to win every game. We know that we're probably, it's not one of those things that every team does, but we want to come out and compete. We want to play hard, and you're going to get the best effort from us every single week.
Okay, though. That's the state of the Cougars this year with the girls basketball coach, Kellen James here. Okay, now we come back. We're going to preview football week 7 here on OAA Now.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
Welcome back to OAA Now. I'm Sammy Terramini here. Of course, I got Kellen James here, of course, the coach of the Stony Creek girls basketball team here. Of course, Kellen, how you enjoying yourself?
Oh, it's great, man. Great time.
We're going to go to another sport here. Of course, it's football. Of course, when you look at this, what's been going on around the league, of course, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in football. Of course, I know you don't. Do you ever keep an eye on Stony Creek at all for football?
Yeah, we've been to. It's great. I've been to 2 games so far this year. Take my son. He loves it. He loves all the noise, all the people going around, and we've watched. Stoney's getting better. They're a program that's in the works. And
you talked to Coach Bob Lancey?
I talked to him here and there. It's just our schedules really don't coincide. By the time our season's starting and we're really in there, their season's over. Winter season's there.
And then of course, let's look at our. Of course, we're in week 7 now. Of course, we're going to preview some of these games. Of course, we're going to go with the Blue Division first. Of course, we're going to test your brain here.
Okay. All right.
We're going to test your brain here. Our first game, of course, is Ferndale, who's going to be coming in at 5-1, 3-1, come off a big win over Royal Oak. Of course, they get to take on Pontiac, who sits at 1-5 and 1-3 in the
that's tough,
Blue Division.
That's a tough one. Pontiac, a few years ago, they were a playoff team
under Brad Zuby.
Under Zuby, and he came in, left there, came to Stony, did a great job at Stony, and now he's doing a great job out in Ortonville.
Yeah, Brandon.
Brandon. Yeah.
And then of course that's how Lancey got it. But Pontiac, the last Pontiac has really struggled. They've only won 3 games since 2011. And, you have a projection hanging that first game between Ferndale and Pontiac. Of course, Ferndale really.
Ferndale's been playing well from what I've read.
11-4 since 20 they were 11-4 since 2016. So this match we think could be a blowout here.
Got to give it to Ferndale.
It's going to be a tough chore for Ferndale. It's going to really be a tough chore there. Our next game we're going to talk about is a non-league game. Of course, Avondale taking on Ypsilanti Lincoln. Of course, Ypsilanti Lincoln, they're a football team that's got they're an interesting team. Of course, the Ypsilanti Lincoln comes in with a 4-2 record. Of course, they won 4 straight games. The Rail Splitters. That is the name
Rail
of their
Splitters,
team.
yeah.
That is
they got
the
great
name.
gym
they
down
got,
there.
Yep, the Ypsilanti Lincoln. They get to take on Avondale. Avondale's also 4-2. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup for the Yellow Jackets. They take on the Rail Splitters.
Yeah,
interesting name too.
The Rail Splitters. I tell you, they do have a fantastic school down there. Great gym down there too. But once again, it's odd that it's a non-league game this late in the year.
Well, remember the Blue, of course, has got a very odd number.
Yeah, with the odd number that they have. So I'm gonna say with the teams that Avondale plays throughout the year, I'm gonna give the edge to Avondale.
You got Avondale winning that one. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Avondale on this one because when you look at Ypsilanti Lincoln has been really hot right now. 4-2, but I just think Avondale, the way they're playing right now, Ekateri's got that team rolling. I like the Yellow Jackets in this one. I think to win by a score.
Yeah.
So another matchup we're going to talk about here, of course, these are all Blue games first, okay? We're going to go with Hazel Park and North Farmington. I personally have called Coach Bob Chiazza's football uniforms the worst jerseys in football because
he inherited those, though.
I know he inherited those, but still. I mean, North Farmington, they've really struggled this year. I mean, 1-5, 1-3, but Bob Chiesa, of course, coming over from Heartland. Of course, he used to be at Waterford.
Yeah, he's been all over the place. Yeah,
he's taking on a Royal Oak team that's coming off just a really bad loss to Ferndale. They were up 20, and they're taking on Hazel Park. Hazel Park right now, they have Steamboat Pontiac, but Hazel Park, they lead the clubhouse in the blue, even though at 4-0, but they're 4-2. They still got to play Ferndale next week.
Yeah, and I got that North Farmington connection, you know, coaching there, but I have an even deeper connection. Bob Chiesa, I've known Bob Chiesa since I was in middle school.
Great man, too.
Yeah, great guy, great family. I graduated high school with one of his daughters, and I'm calling for the upset. I'm calling for Bob to get his win.
You think they're going to go and beat Hazel Park?
I'm calling for the upset.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow, you are pretty bold here.
Yeah, I'm calling for the upset there, man.
You know what? I agree with you. Congratulations. I agree with you. I'm picking the upset. I got Bob Chiesa pulling it off. But I'm telling him, please get rid of the uniforms. I mean, I've even offered, and I finally got an accept. I'm going to help him with designing uniforms next year.
Good.
I'm going to help him.
There you go.
Yes, he's got to really start with that helmet.
Yeah.
He's got to start with the helmet. White helmet just does not look good on North Farmington. No offense. And then the last game for the Blue weekend, of course, it's Farmington Royal Oak. Royal Oak was up by 24 points against Ferndale. They were up 31-7 on them. And then Ferndale comes out of nowhere, stuns them. 42-31 last week. They're taking on a Farmington team under Corey Saroch, who I think has been really disappointing. They have not improved defensively. I mean, when you look at this matchup, of course, you have Royal Oak, of course, under Coach Ray McMahon, taking on Farmington, a team that I think's got some issues.
I'm gonna say, give me Royal Oak on this one.
You give me Royal Oak.
I think Royal Oak is primed, having a tough week the week before, and coming in to really, I think they're gonna lay one.
I agree with you. I'm gonna agree with you 100% here. I'm gonna upgrade you. I'm gonna take Royal Oak by 4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns. Okay.
Yep. I'm gonna say Royal Oak by 4 touchdowns. Let's go to the white now. Of course, we're gonna talk. This is gonna be an interesting matchup because, this involves your high school team, the Stony Creek Cougars. They take on the Berkeley Bears. Of course, Berkeley under Billy Keenis has had a rough year this year. I mean, but of course, Stony Creek under Coach Bob Lancy, they've had another rough year. Of course, offensively has been an issue for this team. So, explain in this matchup. You got Cougars taking on the Bears in this one.
I think you have two teams that are pretty, I guess, evenly matched. I would say, looking at them, maybe not record-wise, but. Stony, though, watching them the last few weeks, defensively, they are holding teams. Obviously Oak Park is a very, very good team.
Yeah, nothing you can do with Oak Park.
That's a tough order, but holding Seaholm last week to 14,
beating Seaholm last week. That was huge.
Yeah, huge.
They beat them.
Beating Troy, or losing to Troy, but only giving up a touchdown right at the end there, which is a heartbreaker.
That was stunning to me with that Troy.
Stoney's one of those teams that's just a few plays away from having a totally different record. Give me the Cougars.
You got the Cougars. You know what? I'm gonna take the ladder here in this one. I'm gonna go with Stony Creek because I like what they've been doing. But this is a very interesting matchup. I think it's going to be closer than people think.
So do I.
So I think it's going to be a really close game right there. So we'll see what happens in that matchup there. Next game we got is Groves and Rochester. Of course, Groves is coming off a emotional win. They've been doing very well as of late, but they've had some distractions, of course, as you mentioned on the news. Of course, it's on the blog. Of course, if you want to take a look at it, so to our viewers, it's on the blog at SammySemicolonTerminateBlogspot.com, covering the Grove situation. They got a matchup with Rochester this week. You think the distractions get to them this week?
Where's that game being played?
I think it's at Rochester.
At Rochester, and that's a great field down. Have you seen?
Yeah,
have you
it's
been
a brand
over
new
there?
Field,
fantastic field.
I always pass it when I go to Pizza Hut.
Yeah, Rochester it's another up and coming program. They got a lot of young kids that are real good. Drake Reed, Ryan Noble.
The defense has been a big problem over there.
Yeah, that's kind of the sticking
the
point.
Defense has been an issue.
That's kind of the sticking point. But you know what? I'm a Rochester guy. A lot of those guys playing on that team were in middle school with me. Give me the Falcons.
You got the upset.
Yeah, I'm going with the upset.
I'm taking Groves in this one because I just think that the distractions are going to bring that team together, and I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup there in that one. The other interesting game, of course, is Seaholm against Troy. Of course, Seaholm coming off a bad loss. Injuries have killed them. Troy, of course, they were just humiliated last week by Groves.
Yep.
And what do you got in that one?
I got Troy because they are doing a great job over there, taking a program that was almost almost done for, and flipping it around and turning it around. I'm gonna take Troy.
I'm gonna take Seaholm because here's why. Because Troy, they have not proven to me anybody. They have not proven me anything. You look at, of course, prove me who they're beat. Their best win's Avondale. And they got crushed by Oak Park. Got crushed
everyone is
they got
getting
crushed by
by
Harrison. Got crushed by Groves. So you basically look at that one. They still got to play. They still got to play Troy Athens late in the year. So that's gonna be a really tough match. And Troy Athens really had their number.
Right.
So I'm gonna take Seaholm in this one. I just think because of the fact that Seaholm, injury prone, but they got senior experience.
It's understandable.
I got the Maples pulling that one off. And then, of course, the last one in the white we got is the best one matchup. It's going to be taking place at Harrison. Oak Park taking on Harrison. That's going to be a fun matchup.
That's going to be a good one. Oak Park, I watched them at Stony the other day, a few weeks ago, and man, they can play. They're all over the ball. They swarm the ball on defense. They have team speed all over the place. I mean, the thing I was impressed was their linemen, how fast their linemen were getting down the field. And Harrison's always been a good team. I'm
not concerned about Harrison's depth in this game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not a huge team, so I'm Oak Park.
You got Oak Park. I got Oak Park as well in that one. That's going to be really interesting to see what happens there in that matchup. I think Oak Park, they're going to pull away late, and I think that's going to be. It's not like a couple years ago, no, 60-52. Now that was insane.
Right. Yeah.
But we'll see what happens there.
Oak Park by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'd probably go that one there too. And then of course we got the red matchups this weekend. Of course, we got a couple big matchups. Let's go to our first matchup. This is going to really be just brutal. I mean, you got Troy Athens taking on West Bloomfield, and that game being played at West Bloomfield.
I'm going West Bloomfield by 35.
How many touchdowns? How many touchdowns?
We're gonna go 5 touchdowns.
I'm going 6. Oh, it's gonna be a long one for Josh Hepner's team in that one. We got 3 matchups here that'll be really interesting. Of course, the next matchup here is Bloomfield Hills against Southfield Arts and Tech. That'll be played at Southfield.
Yeah.
Of course, Bloomfield Hills did not look great against Lake Orion, but Southfield, of course, they were pummeled by Adams last week.
I look at Bloomfield Hills as a team that came up 2 divisions. Played. I think they were on that beginning of the season high. Beating West Bloomfield. But from there, they've kind of been downhill. It's been a slow decline. I feel like, and Southfield, I think, getting beat last week by Adams is going to really get them going. And their quarterback at Southfield's really athletic, really
John
good.
Darby,
He can get down the field.
He looked good.
So I'm gonna go with Southfield A&T.
I got the Warriors too in this one. I think that if John Paddock, if Paddock gets shut down, they're done for, and that's basically what I think is going to happen here in this one. And it's a 5:30 start, and I think it's going to be that's not a good thing for Bloomfield Hills. Not a good combination there. I got the Warriors in this one and that one. 2 more games to talk to you about here. Of course, is you got the next one here is you got the double O trophy matchup, and this is Lake Orion versus Oxford. Now both teams have been struggling this year, but I think one team. When you look at this matchup here, what's your thoughts on the Lake Orion Oxford matchup?
I know you guys love your double O trophy. You and Ant, and looking at the 2 teams, I look at and I think Lake Orion's got the depth. They've got the better athletes. I'm going Lake Orion.
You got Lake Orion
Yep.
this one. I got Lake Orion as well. I think, when you look at this matchup, I don't trust Oxford defensively at all in this matchup. Oxford's giving up way too many points. But when you look at Lake Orion, this is a team that's really has gone through a tough transition year.
They struggled this year.
They've gone through. It's been a transition. When you look at with Lake Orion, of course, I thought they showed some strides last week in Spoon Bay Hills. If they only cut down on their turnovers and their mistakes, then who knows? Lake Orion, this could be a different team right now. So I got Lake Orion this one. At Oxford. Oxford's not an easy place to play, as you know.
Yep.
That blue turf, it's not an easy place to play in that one. Then the last game, of course, we're going to talk about is going to be played at Adams between Clarkston and Rochester Adams. This is going to be an interesting matchup when you look at the Wolves and Highlanders. Adams really proven they belong.
Oh, Adams is they're another team that's not a huge team. They don't have a lot of kids. But they have the right kids. They come out and play hard. Coretta's a heck of a back. He can really get down the field. Petrino is another stud athlete.
Dad's the coach. Tony.
Dad's the coach. And then you have Clarkson, who always is good. Always has those big, strong
offensive linemen.
Real quick backs. Very solid, methodical. But you know what? I think Adams is. I think this is going to be one of those real good years for Adams, and I think you're going to be your red champ. So give me Adams.
You got Adams in this one. When I look at this matchup here, Adams, they had that heartbreak to West Bloomfield. I mean, Clarkson, they were just destroyed by West Bloomfield. Clarkson on the road's much different than being
Clarkson
at home.
Yeah.
So in this matchup here, you got to give me Adams in this one. I think Adams is going to win this matchup.
Smart choice.
It's going to be a really interesting matchup. It's going to be close, but I think at the end of the day, I don't know if I could trust Nate Ubali in this matchup against Adams, especially with their ball hawking defense.
Right,
so
they're going to go at him.
We'll see what happens in there. I'd like Adams to pull off the win in this one and move on. And I think Adams is going to do that as we go forward. So we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be a good week.
Okay, now I'd like to thank you, Mr. Kellen James, for
Not
coming
a problem,
on
Sammy.
the
Thank you.
podcast here.
Thank you.
And we're going to sign it off here. Take care, everybody. Good luck, and see y'all next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
OAA Now is produced at Orion Neighborhood Television, Lake Orion's community media outlet. To learn more about ONTV, visit our website at www.orionontv.org or call us at 248-393-1060.